When my asthma attack hit, Chad was intimately dancing with his secretary at the center of the banquet hall. Even as I foamed at the mouth and fell into a coma, the man still held his secretary close, whispering and laughing with her. On the way home, I found a diamond ring in the glove compartment. Before I could speak, Chad frowned and snatched it away, saying coldly, "It's not for you." I nodded, pointing to the bridal shop ahead at the intersection, and said calmly, "Please pull over to the side." The custom wedding dress I had ordered. Now it seemed time to return it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. I had just stepped into the bridal shop when Chad got out of the car and chased after me. He threw a woman's coat at my face. "Chelsea, fix your habit of being scatterbrained." Chad has OCD and never allows anything of mine to be left in the car. Glancing at the coat on the ground, I spoke indifferently. "It's not mine." Hearing this, the man's expression softened as he picked up the coat without any sign of disgust and folded it away. I knew the coat belonged to Riva. Every time Riva intentionally leaves something behind, it sparks hysterical arguments between me and Chad. Only this time, I had no complaints. I simply turned around and gave the clerk my phone number. The clerk smiled and said, "You've arrived just in time. The custom wedding dress and suit you ordered have been completed and are ready for fitting." Before I could refuse to try them on, the man who had just mistakenly vented his anger at me had already walked into the changing room with a cold expression. 10 minutes later, I stood in the wedding dress, facing Chad. He gave me a slight smirk, utterly tacky. I didn't argue with him, instead asking the shop assistant to take a photo for me. Hearing this, Chad looked impatient and was about to pull me in for a joint photo. At that moment, his phone rang. It was Riva's exclusive ringtone. The girl tearfully told him that her favorite coat was missing. If any kind-hearted person could find and return her clothes immediately, she would pledge herself to them, unwavering until death. After hanging up the phone, Chad left in long strides without even changing his clothes. Listening to the sound of the car driving away, I picked up the scissors and, without hesitation, cut the wedding dress to pieces. 1:30 a.m. While packing my personal belongings, I received a IG message. It's from Chad. Drinking. After 8 years together, it's rare for him to proactively share his whereabouts. Glancing at the cleaning gloves on my hands, I choose not to reply. After taking out the trash, I took a hot shower and fell asleep as soon as I hit the bed. Chad came home the next day just as I was heading out to take out the trash. He looked at me strangely and asked, "Did your phone break?" Seeing me shake my head, the man instinctively furrowed his brow. I knew why he was asking. In the past, whenever he stayed out too late, I would tirelessly send messages and make calls. But last night, his phone was eerily silent. As I was about to step outside, Chad asked again, "Chelsea, where's the group photo on the wall?" Glancing down at the trash bag, I was just about to tell the truth when his phone vibrated, bumping past my shoulder. The man pressed the voice message button while speaking as he walked inside. "Don't worry, little one. I'll bring it to you as soon as it's ready." Hearing the sound of running water from the bathroom, I continued downstairs to take out the trash. While coming back upstairs after throwing out the garbage, I had a sudden drop in blood sugar, drenched in cold sweat upon returning home. I picked up the fried egg toast on the table and had just taken a bite. I heard Chad's voice full of resentment. "Chelsea, were you a starving ghost in your past life?" Watching as the man threw the toast I had bitten into, along with the entire plate, into the trash bin, I asked him with a dazed expression, "I've cooked for you for 8 years, and now when I have a hypoglycemic episode, I'm not even worthy of a bite of breakfast made by you." Chad replied with a cold, hard gaze. Such ill-bred behavior, taking without asking is stealing. He put on his suit and slammed the door on his way out. Facing Chad's new round of cold violence, I instinctively picked up my phone and opened his IG, only to find he had changed his profile background. It was Riva's cute photo wearing cat ears. I gave a like, then casually unpinned him from the top. Worked until noon. Arranged to meet the agent for a house viewing. Just as I stepped into the elevator, I ran into Chad and Riva. Riva had disheveled hair. Chad was tying it into a ponytail for her. Seeing me appear, Riva immediately put her hands on her hips, pouted, and complained to me, "Chelsea sis, you came just in time. Look at Chad bro. He keeps pulling my hair all day. Like an immature little boy. So annoying. /span. Before I could speak, Chad lightly pinched Riva's nose and flirtatiously said, "Little one, if you keep telling lies, your nose will grow long," teasing Riva's face. The man finally took pity and looked at me. "Chelsea, since we've run into each other, let's grab a meal together. We've worked in the same commercial building but for different companies for 5 years. Chad never asked me out for lunch during break time, while Chelsea would post on social media every day, Chad accompanying her for every lunch. Recalling this, I smiled. "You guys go ahead. I have something else to do." I didn't expect me to refuse. Chad looked displeased the next second when the elevator suddenly jerked to a halt, plunging us into darkness. Turning on my phone's flashlight, I saw Chad holding Riva close, soothing her softly. Before long, the elevator resumed normal operation. When we reached the first floor, Chad offered to give me a ride. Before I could speak, Riva suddenly fainted. Seeing this, the man pushed past me without hesitation, carried Riva on his back, and rushed to the hospital, silently picking up the shattered phone. I hailed a cab and started house hunting. In the evening, Chad personally delivered a dessert to my workstation. Half an hour ago, I saw Riva post a new update. "Loving someone is like tending to flowers. Baby can't finish eating. Simply can't finish it all." The accompanying picture showed a whole table of French desserts. I said thanks but didn't open the dessert box. Chad showed a hint of confusion in his eyes. "Chelsea, why are you being so polite to me?" I didn't answer him directly, just said, "If there's nothing else, I need to go print some documents." By the time I returned with the printed resignation form, Chad had already left. He left a sticky note behind, telling me to come upstairs and find him after finishing my work. I tore off the sticky note and threw it away along with the dessert. I walked into my boss's office and handed in my resignation. My boss tried to persuade me to stay for a long time, but seeing my determination, eventually accepted the resignation letter. Following the procedure, I can leave after finishing this week's work. At 10 o'clock that night, Chad called me while I was at a dinner gathering. The phone was accidentally answered by a male colleague. When it was my turn to take the call, Chad's tone was chillingly cold. "Chelsea, where are you in the middle of the night?" I replied, "Outside. Send me your location. I'll come pick you up now." With that, the man hung up the phone directly. After sending the location, I stayed until the shop closed. I never got to see Chad. Open Riva's IG, and sure enough, there's news of her being sick and on an 4 drip. Took a taxi home alone, washed up, and went to sleep. At a little past 3 in the morning, the travel-worn Chad vigorously shook me awake. He said to me coldly, "Chelsea, I'm hungry. Make me a bowl of shepherd's purse wontons." He doesn't like shepherd's purse, and he dislikes wontons even more. I know. The one who wants to eat is Riva. I wanted to pull away Chad's hand, but touched the scar on the back of it. When the school auditorium caught fire back then, if it weren't for Chad, I'm afraid I would have become a corpse, trading a life-saving favor for a bowl of shepherd's purse dumplings. I'd say I came out ahead. Seeing me change clothes without a word and prepare to leave, Chad grabbed my arm, with rare unease in his voice. "Maybe we should just wait until daylight to do this." Anyway, I interrupted him and asked softly, "Besides wontons, is there anything else she'd like to eat?" After a moment of silence, Chad let go of my hand. He said, "It's gone." At the break of dawn, the man stood at the door holding a thermal food container and said to me, "Chelsea, I have to go abroad next week. This Saturday I'll squeeze out some time to have a meal with your parents and discuss our marriage." Before he could finish, I directly refused. "No need." Chad was visibly stunned. "What do you mean by that?" I lied with a smile. "They're traveling out of town and haven't returned yet." The man stared at me intently, as if he still had something to say, but fortunately his phone rang. With that, he couldn't wait to close the door. Friday, the day I resigned. I had just stepped out of the company when Chad pulled me into the car without a word. In the upscale restaurant, Chad asked me while cutting my steak, "Which wine would you like to drink?" I absent-mindedly scrolled through my phone and casually replied, "Whatever you decide is fine." My absent-mindedness made the man's handsome face darken slightly. "Who are you chatting with?" "No one." Even after getting my answer, the man still snatched my phone away. After flipping through it for a while, His eyes darkened as he asked me, "When did you change your wallpaper? For all these years we've been together, my wallpaper had always been a photo of us. But now, it's been replaced by a picture of my parents' little dog." Too lazy to answer the question, I simply got up and went to the restroom. By the time I returned, Chad was already gone. Suddenly, all the lights in the room went out. A waiter slowly approached me, pushing a cart of flowers and cake. The cake cart had just stopped at the neighboring table when my phone lit up. It was a birthday greeting from 10086. As I stepped out of the restaurant, I heard a familiar, overly sweet female voice. "Oh Chad, you're so strong. Can you push me higher?" It was Riva sitting on the swing outside the shop, screaming excitedly for Chad to push her higher. The result of being too greedy was that she soon fell into the man's arms. They smiled at each other, holding on to each other tightly for a while before noticing my presence. Chad showed obvious disappointment in his eyes, looking at me expressionlessly. "Chelsea, this swing is so much fun. Come join me quickly." Mid-sentence, Riva's face turned bright red as she shyly and reluctantly lowered her arm from Chad's shoulder. "Chelsea, please don't misunderstand. Chad only held me to save me." Chad affectionately ruffled Riva's dark hair, gazing at her tenderly. "Silly, what's there to explain? As long as you're not hurt, that's all that matters." After comforting Riva, the man withdrew all tenderness and looked at me indifferently, already full from eating. I ignored him and walked toward the Ferris wheel not far away. They say if you make a wish on a Ferris wheel on your birthday, it will definitely come true. Watching my retreating figure, Riva flashed a hint of mockery in her eyes, quickly pulling Chad to follow. "Wow, a Ferris wheel. Chad brother, I want to ride this too." Hearing the staff say there were only 2 seats left, Chad didn't even glance at me, holding Riva's hand as they rushed to take the seats first. 20 minutes later, the man who returned to the ground searched the entire mall but couldn't see me again. 8 p.m. Carrying luggage, he walked out of the bedroom. He placed a note with the words, "Break up," under the key. I left without looking back. At 11 o'clock at night, my phone rang. It was Chad calling. At that time, I was chatting with my parents in the living room and didn't see it. An hour later, the man called again. I turned off the screen, shut down the phone, and went to sleep. I slept until noon the next day. After restarting my phone, I was surprised to find over a dozen missed calls. With a vague premonition, I opened IG. I saw the usually indifferent Chad sending multiple messages in an unprecedented manner. "What do the key and note mean? So I forgot your birthday. Not answering calls. Not replying to messages. Is playing hard to get fun for you? Chelsea, I'm giving you 1 hour to get back here. Or don't ever come back." Noting the timestamp of the last message, it was sent 3 hours ago. I let out a deep sigh of relief from the bottom of my heart, moved my fingers, and deleted Chad without hesitation. A knock sounded at the door. After receiving my consent, my mother came in with a glass of milk. "Chelsea, your stomach is sensitive. Drink it while it's hot." Last night I suddenly came home carrying luggage. But my parents didn't ask anything. Just took care of me with their usual concern. Holding on to my mother's arm, I sniffled with a tinge of sourness in my nose and said, "Mom, I've taken a liking to an apartment. Though it's small, it's enough to shelter me from the wind and rain." My mother replied with a beaming smile, "Then buy it. How much more do you need? I'll make up the difference for you." Even as I shook my head with a smile, indicating that I had enough money, Mom still transferred me 200,000 yuan. She said, "Only when a girl owns a home and has savings can she truly stand with confidence." For this reason, I immediately arranged with the landlord to sign the contract next Monday. In the evening, Dad not only cooked a table full of delicious dishes but also bought a cream cake to make up for my birthday celebration from yesterday. Facing the lit birthday candles, I clasped my hands together and made a devout wish. I wished for my parents' health and happiness, and for everything to improve. Yet, not long after blowing out the candles, I received an utterly unexpected message. To be precise, there were several messages from different people, all conveying the same sentiment. "Oh my God, Chelsea. Congratulations on your long-term relationship success. I'll definitely come back to attend and give you a huge red envelope. Chelsea, heartfelt blessings to you and Chad for a harmonious union, and may you have children soon." Just as I was feeling puzzled by these snowflake-like blessings that kept coming my way, An IG pop-up notification appeared, showing that Chad had requested to add me as a friend. Chelsea, I've announced on IG that we're getting married soon. You've achieved what you wanted, and it's time for you to stop making a scene. Seeing the words, had enough fun, I couldn't help but let out a derisive laugh. At this point, who exactly is the one making a scene? Speaking of which, my mom once asked me to share her number with Chad, yet this man has consistently turned a blind eye, never adding her. Looking back now, I'm actually quite grateful for his indifference. If this farce were to reach my mother, it would probably give her a headache all night. After calming down for a moment, I first replied to friends who sent their blessings, informing them that Chad and I had already broken up. Then, I posted a new update on my long unused IG, visible even to strangers. Don't believe or spread rumors. I'm single and currently have no boyfriend. Within 2 minutes of posting this rumor-denying update, Chad called. I didn't answer, yet the man kept calling persistently. I simply blocked his phone number. With the world restored to peace and quiet, I collapsed onto the soft, comfortable sheets, put on my headphones, closed my eyes, and listened to music. In the blink of an eye, Monday arrived. After finishing the loving brunch prepared by my mother, I walked briskly and arrived at the real estate transaction center right on time. Just as I was about to sign the contract with the landlord, his phone suddenly rang. Within seconds of answering the call, the landlord looked at me in surprise and hesitantly handed me his phone. Miss Lynn, this person is looking for you. I know Chad has a wide network and strong capabilities, but I never would have imagined that such a rational and indifferent man would go to such lengths just to get me to answer his call. Finding a secluded corner, I couldn't hold back any longer and spoke up. Chad, aren't you annoying? I didn't expect my tone to be so cold and impatient. After a moment of silence, the man asked me in a deep voice, Chelsea, why did you tell others you're single? Because it's the truth. Chad sneered, leaving behind a key and a crumpled note. And that counts as being single again. Chelsea, I'm begging you. Can't a woman pushing 30 act a bit more mature in how she handles things? We're already engaged. And soon enough we'll be married with kids. Just like you wanted. You're making such a scene now. How will those classmates ever feel comfortable attending our wedding in the future? Holding my forehead to suppress the urge to laugh, I said, there won't be a wedding. What do you mean by that? Chad let out a cold snort. Are you really going to break up with me? I lowered my eyes and replied firmly, yes, let's break up. The man didn't speak again, listening to the background noise from his phone. I knew he was at the airport, about to board his flight, glancing at the landlord uncle nearby, who was worried the property sale might fall through. I was about to hang up when Chad softened his tone and spoke again. Chelsea, I know you're upset with me because I forgot your birthday. I admit this was my fault. After I bring Riva back from overseas treatment, I'll make it up to you properly. Listening quietly to the man's words, I responded indifferently. You've misunderstood. I'm not angry, nor do I need any compensation. Just know this, you and I are already broken up. With that, I hung up the phone and returned it to the landlord. I also told him that if this number calls again, please block it directly. After signing the purchase contract and completing the procedures, I quickly received my own red property deed. After taking a photo as a memento, I immediately set off to meet my friend. I went home around 10 o'clock after playing happily, and I volunteered to take my father's place to walk the little dog downstairs. When I pushed open the glass security door of the building unit, a tall and familiar figure blocked my way. It was the travel-worn Chad. Chelsea, I tightened the leash, my face tense as I took a small step back. Don't come any closer. Stung by the indifference on my face, Chad ignored my warning and furrowed his brows as he stepped forward. He opened his mouth, about to say something, when my little dog went into attack mode, baring its teeth and barking fiercely at him. To this, Chad seemed utterly oblivious, pressing forward step by step until he had me cornered against the wall. Backlit, his cold gaze fixed unwaveringly on me, he said, let's talk this through properly. I don't want any misunderstandings between us. I furrowed my brows. I have nothing to say to you. The man pressed his fist against the wall, trapping me firmly. Chelsea, have you forgotten we're about to get married? You think you can just dismiss me with a casual breakup? What do you take me for? Faced with the man's furious, teeth-gritting interrogation, I was so exasperated that I couldn't even be bothered to waste a single word on him. Twice I tried to push him away, but found him immovable no matter how hard I shoved. The dog, in its frenzy to protect me, barked so wildly that it set off the hallway lights on several floors. As the crowd gathering in the apartment hallway grew larger, unwilling to alarm my parents, I had no choice but to compromise. Half an hour later, at a 24-hour coffee shop, Chad stood at the counter and ordered 2 Americanos. One of them, sugar-free with extra ice, was placed by my side by his initiative. Chelsea, look, I actually remember your preferences. Hearing this, I couldn't help but blink in amusement. Since childhood, whether it was my parents or close friends, everyone knew I feared bitterness the most. The only reason we keep black coffee at home is purely because Chad likes it. As for needing extra ice, it's because the more ice I add, the weaker the sour and bitter taste of the coffee becomes for me. Yet after just 2 days apart, the man has inexplicably become much more talkative. Before I could respond, he continued talking to himself. I apologize about your birthday. I was so busy with work that I got the date wrong, thinking it was next month all along. But actually, I had already bought the gift you wanted long ago. As he spoke, the man took out an exquisite velvet box from his trouser pocket. Seeing that I showed no intention of opening it, he pursed his thin lips and opened the gift box himself, revealing a pair of dazzling, expensive crystal earrings before my eyes. 2 years ago, on a certain day, Chad casually promised me that he would pick out a pair of crystal earrings suitable for formal banquets the very next day. Now, he has finally fulfilled that long-standing promise. Sadly, I no longer need them. Chelsea, won't you try them on? Under Chad's expectant gaze, after a few quiet seconds, I finally picked up those beautiful earrings I no longer needed. Yet I didn't comply with the man's wish by putting it on directly for him to see. Instead, I weighed it in my palm, flipped my wrist, and watched it fall and shatter. The shattered crystal fragments bounced onto Chad's suit pants. Only then did I notice the man's calves were riddled with bloody holes torn by dog bites. I pretended not to see it, calmly raising my eyes and saying, "The gift is ugly. I don't like it. Is there anything else? If not, I'm leaving." The untouched coffee was squeezed until it overflowed. Yet the man who was usually extremely fastidious didn't seem to care at all about the coffee stains on his cuffs at this moment. Pressing his throbbing temple, he asked me with a sardonic smile, "Chelsea, how long are you going to keep up this act?" Not only did you send threatening messages to Riva, forcing her to resign, but you also deliberately chose to break up with me when she urgently needed to go abroad for heart surgery. I can turn a blind eye to all the nonsense you've done. For the sake of our past relationship, all I want to know now is what exactly you're after. Get married to you right away. Fine. Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau now and get our marriage certificate at dawn. Chad gloomily grabbed my arm with a dark expression, pulling me closer to him without a word. Our eyes met. To his astonishment, the man found only cold indifference in my gaze. With a look of disgust, I shook off his hand, feeling no desire to explain or clarify the ridiculous accusations Chad had thrown at me. Riva's absurd slander. I spoke slowly and deliberately, calm as still water. Chad, I'll say this one last time. We've already broken up. So rest assured, I won't marry you. Nor do I have any of those imagined demands you've conjured up. If we happen to meet at an alumni event in the future, just pretend you never knew me. There's no need to come over and exchange pleasantries. No hysterical red-faced accusations, nor the weak tears that annoyed him. Watching me get up and walk to the order counter, I ordered 3 full sugar lattes, all to go. At this moment, Chad's eyes finally revealed an unmistakable panic. He chased out of the coffee shop, his lips pale as he said to me, "Chelsea, I was your first love." I looked at him leisurely. "So what? It was you who blushed and confessed to me. It was you who told me personally that you had never liked someone so much before. On graduation day, we promised to stay together for life, no matter what happens. So," at this point, the man actually began to stammer. "So you can't just decide to break up because of temporary emotional fatigue. That's not fair to me." He made me laugh. "You didn't actually take those sweet nothings from the honeymoon phase seriously, did you?" The day after accepting Chad's proposal, I stood outside his office and heard him comforting a tearful Riva. who was pretending to congratulate him on his engagement. I don't even love Chelsea at all. It's just that she's been clinging to me like a lapdog for so long. I had to throw her a bone to keep her from whining everywhere. Chad said he doesn't love me. The irony is, now that he hears me personally breaking the promise I once made to him, the man turns deathly pale in an instant. Standing there dumbstruck, I raised my hand to hail a taxi. As soon as I opened the car door, I heard Chad deliver an ultimatum to me in a cold and arrogant tone. Chelsea, you know what kind of person I am. If you leave now, it's really over between us. Before the man could finish his sentence, I had already slammed the car door shut without looking back. A month passed in the blink of an eye. While busy settling into my new home, I also seized every spare moment to search for a new job. Luck was on my side, though the journey had its twists and turns, and its share of hardships. But in the end, I got both the new home I had always dreamed of and an interesting career with better pay than before. As for Chad, occasionally one or two mutual friends would mention him to me, whether intentionally or not. They say he's getting busier and busier, too busy to attend any social gatherings anymore. So busy he completely forgot to delete the still-pinned fake news on IG that says, Chad and Chelsea are about to tie the knot. I didn't react to this at all. My time and energy are limited and precious, and I won't waste them on people and matters that have become strangers. On a Friday evening at the beginning of the month, rushing through the post-work peak hour, I barely managed to make it to the 100-day celebration banquet for my former college classmate's daughter. Inside the elegant and brightly lit hotel banquet hall, I presented the adorable baby girl in my classmate's arms with a pure gold longevity lock. May her future life be filled with peace, joy, and smooth sailing. During the banquet, several long unseen friends from the neighboring table came over one by one to clink glasses with me and chat. The last person to approach was Gerben. He was a law school junior 2 years below me. We got to know each other because I was the president of the debate club during college, and he was the vice president. Gerben left 2 anti-hangover candies for me when he departed. As I watched the man return to his original seat, my female classmate couldn't resist elbowing me in the side. Chelsea, to be honest, I never even thought of inviting Gerben to my daughter's 100-day celebration. After all, I wasn't really familiar with this legal superstar. He was the one who had someone find my contact information and directly asked me if you would come. Before the 100-day celebration even ended, I said my goodbyes and left early. Coincidentally, Gerben was also about to leave. In the elevator, the handsome man who hadn't touched a drop of alcohol spoke up. Chelsea, let me take you home. I narrowed my eyes, looking at him with suspicion, unsolicited kindness. After all these years since graduation, you're not still plotting to overthrow me and become the club president, are you? Suppressing a chuckle with a light cough, Gerben was about to respond to my joke when the elevator doors automatically opened upon reaching the basement level. Standing outside was a man whose presence surprised me beyond measure. Chad, why are you not giving me a chance to finish my sentence? The man, clearly enveloped in palpable anger, stepped into the elevator with a cold expression, seized my wrist, and forcibly dragged me out of the elevator. Ignoring my struggles and resistance, Chad clenched his handsome face and said to me through gritted teeth, Chelsea, I declare you the winner. I'll agree to whatever you ask, as long as from now on, you stop deliberately giving me the cold shoulder to torment me. Hearing the words, cold shoulder, I looked at Chad with utter bewilderment. Chad, may I ask if you're incapable of understanding human language? How many more times do I have to repeat that we've already broken up before you'll finally let me go? Even though I've made myself this clear, Chad still acted as if he hadn't heard. Staring deeply at me for several long seconds, he continued to grip my struggling right hand tightly, his expression cold and unfeeling as he tried to drag me toward his silver car parked a few meters away. Seeing this, Gerben rushed forward and swiftly grabbed my other arm, saying indifferently, Chelsea doesn't want to go with you. Noticing that I was using all my strength to move closer to Gerben, Chad's lips pressed into a thin, knife-like line. He asked mockingly, Gerben, you know that Chelsea and I are already discussing marriage, right? She has already accepted my proposal, and in a few days, she will be my wife. What right does an outsider like you have to meddle in matters between me and my wife? Gerben tightened his grip on my hand with a somber expression. Before he could formulate a retort, I, already incensed by Chad's shameless remarks, sneered coldly and said to Chad, "Gerben is my boyfriend, and what concerns me concerns him. As for you, a disgusting ex who clings shamelessly and won't let go, what gives you the right to bark at my boyfriend like a dog?" As soon as I finished speaking, Riva, dressed in a hospital gown, stepped out of Chad's car. She leaned pitifully against Chad's side, batting her eyes while making pointed accusations at me. "Sister Chelsea, not only were you caught flirting with this man at the banquet earlier, but now you're breaking Chad brother's heart for him. Could it be that you're truly so fickle as to chase after another man in less than 2 months? Heavens! How could you? What a fickle and eager soul." Not only did I take Riva's sarcasm in stride, but I also magnanimously said to Chad, "See how much Riva cares for you. To be honest, you two are a match made in heaven. I sincerely wish you both happiness and an early marriage." After hearing my utterly calm and indifferent blessing, Chad's expression visibly darkened at an alarming rate. Riva flashed a hint of concealed delight in her eyes, her lips parting as if to add fuel to the fire and continue mocking me. However, Gerben and I stood together, while Chad, as if suddenly waking from a dream, abruptly pushed her away. Her knees scraped against the rough ground. Riva stared blankly as Chad rushed toward me, explaining in a tone of urgency I had never heard before. "Chelsea, Riva and I are absolutely not in the kind of sordid relationship you think. The only reason she was in my car is because she fainted by the company's roadside. So I had no choice but to take her to the hospital. /span. I find it a bit amusing. Why are you telling me this?" Seeing that I showed no signs of anger, Chad visibly relaxed. "Chelsea, I just want you to know that from beginning to end, there's only ever been you in my heart." Realizing Chad was reaching out to touch my cheek, Gerben suddenly pulled me into his embrace with force, his face guarded as he coldly warned Chad, "Chelsea is my girlfriend now. Please show some respect." Before I could even glance at Gerben to thank him for playing along, Chad abruptly grabbed Gerben by the collar, his face dark with anger as he clenched his fist and swung violently. This strike Gerben could have dodged, but to protect me in his arms, Gerben stood his ground and took the hit. A sharp slap. Chad's furious punch was followed by the resounding crack echoing through the empty parking lot. Let go of Gerben, unclenched his fist. Chad, who had been slapped aside, remained motionless in silence for dozens of seconds before finally turning his vacant eyes toward me. He asked me, "Chelsea, have you lost your mind?" Truth be told, there was no need to ask. Chad had already concluded in his heart that I must be insane. If I hadn't lost my mind, how could I, who had loved him devotedly for 8 whole years, always submissive, quiet, and sensible, possibly raise a hand against him for the sake of some irrelevant rogue? This must be a dream. Just as Chad was thinking this, he looked up and saw me holding Gerben's hand, fingers intertwined, softly asking Gerben, "Does it hurt? Do you need to go to the hospital?" Chad was completely stunned. The man's eyes, gradually turning crimson, were filled with disbelief and incredulity. Refusing to give up, Riva got up from the ground, no longer hiding the jealousy and hatred in her eyes. She pointed at me and angrily shouted, "You shameless, despicable woman, wasting Chad's brother's wholehearted intention to marry you, never expecting you'd already been sneaking around with this man behind his back." In the past, when Riva would twist facts and confuse right and wrong in front of Chad, I tolerated it for various reasons. Now she's standing right in front of me, brazenly slandering Gerben as the other man. With a light laugh, I swiftly took off the high heel from my right foot and strode menacingly toward Riva. In the blink of an eye, I made a crazy move that no one present could have anticipated. MMMPH. With the filthy, dust-covered sole of a high heel violently slapping her mouth, Riva widened her eyes and instinctively tried to retreat. But I had anticipated this and tightly gripped her long hair to keep her in place. Riva's foul mouth was soon beaten, swollen and torn from the relentless strikes, the pain so unbearable that she howled and screamed, tears streaming wildly. While I was sternly lecturing Riva, Riva kept tears in her eyes, looking at Chad pleadingly. The funny thing is Chad not only stood still, letting her put on her exaggerated crying act. After I tossed her aside like trash, he eagerly snatched the high heels from my hand and knelt down to try putting them on me. "Chelsea, don't be angry. I know you're definitely not Riva's kind of woman. I finally see it clearly now. The reason we've ended up like this is all because Riva has been sowing discord among us. I promise you, I'll never go easy on her out of pity again. I'll fire her as soon as I get back. Okay, Chelsea. So can we not break up? Chelsea, I truly know I was wrong. Glancing at the pitiful, ashen-faced Riva, I took off my other high heel and threw it expressionlessly at Chad's face. Even if you fire 100 Rivas, it won't change the fact that we've already broken up. After saying this, I turned to leave, but my skirt caught. Chad had tremblingly grabbed hold of me. In all the years I've known him, I've never seen him look so lost and helpless. Don't go. Can you at least tell me what I did wrong that made you so determined to break up with me? Are you really with this man now? Chelsea, I can't believe you'd be so cruel to me. I looked at him with disdain. Let go. Stubbornly shaking his head. Chad's voice was hoarse to a terrifying degree. Chelsea, look at me. Unless you look into my eyes and tell me with your own words that you don't love me anymore. That you love Gerben. Otherwise, I'll never believe you truly want to leave me. As Chad wished, I finally turned to meet his deep eyes, now crimson, filled with despair so profound it seemed on the verge of tears. I spoke to him, each word deliberate. Chad, I truly don't love you anymore. No matter who I love in the future, it will never be you. Did you understand? His knees gave way. Chad dropped to his knees before me without a shred of dignity, forcing a stiff smile that looked worse than tears. It's okay, Chelsea, as long as I love you. You don't have to love me. Just don't break up with me. I'll do anything you ask, even if it means killing someone. I said calmly. I don't need your worthless love. If you harass me again, I'll call the police. Hearing this, Chad blinked. The long-accumulated salty and bitter tears rushed out uncontrollably. Chelsea, don't treat me like this. I know I shouldn't have kept trampling on your sincerity and ignoring your kindness towards me. Why can't you give me one last chance to redeem myself? I swear, I'll definitely let you see my change. To interrupt a man's obsessive rambling, I simply said, Chad, it's all too late now. Under Chad's vacant, lifeless gaze, I got into Gerben's car and drove away. Inside the car, I apologized for using Gerben as a shield and getting him beaten up. Gerben just smiled nonchalantly. If you ever need something like this again, make sure to come to me first. After safely dropping me off at the apartment complex, Gerben added, Chelsea, if Chad bothers you again, you can call me anytime, no matter the hour. I nodded and smiled, agreeing to have a meal together with him next weekend when we're both free. One ordinary night a month later, I received a call from an unfamiliar landline number. It was Chad calling. He seemed to be sick, weak and listless, coughing non-stop from start to finish. Chelsea, don't hang up yet. I just want to ask you one question. Did you ever truly love me? I didn't even bat an eyelid. No. With that, I hung up the phone, put down my mobile, and went back to watching the variety show. It wasn't until 2 days later that I learned from the class group chat Chad had been the victim of arson at the company and was still lying in the hospital. His condition critical. The fire was set by Riva. Riva, enraged by being fired and emotionally unstable, dragged her half-dead sick body to lock the company's doors, intending to perish together with Chad. Saw the case announcement issued by the local police. You two came just in time. The custom wedding dress and suit you ordered have been completed and are ready for fitting. What bad luck. In front of the movie theater, my muttering caught the attention of Gerben, who was buying tickets. Chelsea, what did you just say? I didn't catch that. Nothing. After closing the class group chat, I leaned over to peek at Gerben's phone and asked him, have the tickets been issued? What time did you buy them for? Yes, they're issued. There's still half an hour before the show starts. Just enough time to get the milk tea you wanted. Gerben eagerly led me down to the lower level of the mall. On the way to buy milk tea, he also picked up some snacks and toys for me. The numerous bags in our hands made it look less like we were going to a movie and more like we'd just finished a New Year's shopping spree. After watching the movie and walking down to the parking lot, Gerben asked me to help him open the trunk to get something. Following the sound and opening the trunk, I was unsurprised to see the flowers and balloons he had prepared long in advance. The man was visibly nervous. Chelsea, will you be my girlfriend? Without hesitation, I smiled and took his hand. Of course, life is long and winding. Amidst the twists and turns, you'll always meet the next him. The end.